And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. By the way, if you're calling us from the jail, and we've had a lot of people calling us from the jail, we can't accept the charges. My best advice, if you want to talk about the jail, reach out to me, Kevin at KIDOTalkRadio.com, and we can talk about prison overcrowding. We can talk about this, or send me a letter. People have done that before. But we can't, unfortunately, there's some kind of thing we can't accept the charges? That's outside our budgetary things? Well, it'd be a month before they figure it out, maybe. No laughing matter. We will talk more about the jail coming up, but email me, and maybe we can arrange to have you on the air. Maybe we can get you a prepaid card, and you can give us a live report. No joking about this prison system, as Commissioner Dale talked about last hour. So we'll continue to cover that. Joining us now is our great friend. We've had him on before, Major Scott Hussing, ready to talk about his new book, Echo in Ramadi, the firsthand story of U.S. Marines in Iraq's deadliest city. Scott, good to have you back, sir.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How are you doing today? How's Boise?
We're okay. Remarkably blessed to have, the lead story is somebody stole a bike as opposed to other parts of the country.
That's good news.
It is, but, without people like you that go to faraway places, that do incredible things that most of us will never understand, maybe we'll get a chance to read about it, maybe we'll see a news report, but never comprehend the commitment to service, to serving others and protecting others. We couldn't do that without you folks in the military. What's the state of the world today when you're looking at the Middle East? And many people have said that Afghanistan, where we still are, is resembling a forgotten war.
Well, we're having a lot of problems with forward progression in both of those countries. I mean, we are still currently fighting in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and one of the problems that's highlighted, I think you've highlighted it, in not only the war on terror, but other issues is we still have troops downrange, and when you read reports in mainstream media, which vary greatly, let's just take one example from one major news source that was reporting on Senators Lindsey Graham and Elizabeth Warren. They spent the 4th of July in Baghdad, Iraq. I think they visited Mosul and a couple other cities, and they're given this grand tour of progress and prosperity and what the Iraqi people are doing. But when you look at all the photos, you see that the place is just still a crumbling mess. And several months ago, I wrote an op-ed about, in opposition of then Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. He was going to sign a check for $3 billion to help them rebuild their country when they were asking for $80 billion. And I had to step up and say, no, enough's enough. We've spent enough money, spilled enough blood and enough treasure in that country when they're unwilling to move forward and have a solid track record of being good stewards of our efforts over there. So you see these images, which, are obviously designed to promote happiness, and, it's the 4th of July, and they're visiting with the troops, which is great. I appreciate that. But, on the flip side, you tune into, news sources like Al Jazeera, their own based, media source, and it's a totally different story. I mean, they're talking about some progress and executions of ISIL members in their own country, how they're cleaning up the border, plans to build a border wall along the Syria-Iraq border, which is, that's 400 miles of wall. It's a very similar problem that we have in this country about building a wall. But, is that the answer? Is that the right model? So there's a lot of problems still over there. And until we become 100% engaged, not only politically, militarily, but also our industrial leaders really go over there and show this region what right looks like, we're going to continue to repeat these mistakes, and we're going to continue to have to go back over there and fix these problems.
Major Scott Hussing with us, Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. And we do want to talk about your experiences in Ramadi and the ADD culture that we live in, because many people have gone, well, yeah, we've moved on from that, but to Iraq specifically, our contingent, the Idaho National Guard, actually signed over, Camp Liberty, Camp Victory to the Iraqis, and they moved out. We took the show over there a couple times, once with the North Carolina Guard, the other with the Idaho Guard. And people don't understand, the massive infrastructure that we put there to rebuild that country. And you've touched on it a little. Where are we with, the air, the places we built, redoing Balad Air Base, all these things that we paid a lot of money for. How stable is the government and the military of Iraq?
It's not stable. It's a dysfunctional system. They still are not making the progress that we as Americans would want. Now, granted, like you said, we're a fast food nation. We want fast food, fast cash. We want fast democracy, and that takes time. But we've been in this country for 14 years now, and this is our second turn going back around. We're doing the same thing in Afghanistan. And when you say we've built infrastructure in places like Al-Assad or Mosul, we're bringing stuff and material over there to support what we're doing, but we're not building a place for them to become better. There's no industry. There's no working banking system. Can you imagine living in a country, Kevin? Can you imagine Americans if we said tomorrow all of the ATMs will be gone? They can't go get their $20 at an ATM. They're still driving truckloads of money around in that country from city to city. So as a country that has been around for so long, the cradle of civilization, 5,000-year culture, they're just not getting it, or we're just not showing them the right way. And we as a military do a lot of things great. One of them is blowing stuff up. What we do poorly is building stuff up. We are not the right tool for the right job to get that country stabilized where it needs to be, whether it's administratively through their own form of democracy. And let me clarify that. There's only one form of democracy. But to get them to do it right, we don't have the right people in the right jobs for the right reasons over there to really see the type of progress that we as Americans want to see after spending so many years over there. And, in the wake of the independence of our country, it's important to talk about this because we did give Iraqis their freedom. And trust me, there are plenty of brave Iraqis that stood alongside of us in Ramadi and other cities and fought alongside of us. And we know what democracy brings in the wake of a war, the peace and prosperity, but it takes more than a battle. It takes more than an election. It takes a team. And that means our industrial leaders and economic leaders in this country also investing in that region to help get it to where it needs to be.
Major Scott Huesing with us, Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. So let's talk about your book about Ramadi. For people that, again, we live in an ADD world. We remember the firsthand accounts of going in there. What was it like to be a part of that contingent? And why is it important that people read your firsthand accounts?
Well, Echo in Ramadi is an amazing story, and it's about people. I often get asked, is it a war story? And I say, no, it's not a war story. It's a story about people that fought under some of the worst conditions during one of the bloodiest times in modern urban combat. And that's just the backdrop. But it's about these people, these young men and women and our families that sacrificed so much to really make a difference, not only to fight and kill the enemy, which was our mission, to kill or capture anti-Iraqi forces that were brutally oppressing the Iraqi people, but they also took care of those that couldn't take care of themselves, the citizens that lived there. And I think that's really the message in Echo and Ramadi is the stories not only of leadership and team building and overcoming adversity, but also that power of human connection, Kevin, that really helped us fight and win as we were slugging it out 5, 6, 7 times a day in the deadliest city of Iraq during the surge strategy in '06. And that's really the message. And it's been such a tremendous journey to be able to share this story with so many, to have the support of, shows like yours that make sure that, these great military stories of our fighting men and women don't get marginalized. It's just been great. And a portion of the proceeds go to help Save the Brave, which helps veterans with post-traumatic stress. So again, at the beginning and the end of every day, I wrote the story for the Marines and their families, and helping veterans is what makes me happy when I get up in the morning and when I go to bed at night.
Well, Well, Scott, we thank you for your service, but do we ever get it, considering that the VA is still a mess, that people come back after giving us their best, and we go, hey, thanks. Maybe we give them a thank you for their service. Maybe we do this. But as a society, I mean, we have brave, young, and not so young people in harm's way doing things that we'll never know about to keep us safe from the bad people.
Well, saying thank you for your service is a great start. People always ask me, well, what do I do? How do I support veterans? Is this enough? And yeah, say thank you for your service. It's absolutely a great way to start, but there's so many other ways that people can become engaged. And, slapping a bumper sticker on your truck that says support the troops isn't what you should be doing. You need to get involved. And I was listening to part of the segment earlier, and people are talking about the refugee crisis or prisons or whatever, or crime. People are so unwilling at times to really put some skin in the game. And by that, I mean, you got to give a weekend of your time, or you need to write a big check, or you need to become engaged and become active in it and do. Not just talk about it. I mean, there's a time for talking like we're doing on radio right now, but there's also a time for doing. And, I'm lucky to swim in pools of great supporters that are really putting some skin in the game, that dedicate their time and resources to help veterans, to help promote the stories and share them that really make a difference. And I'm proud to be part of Save the Brave as the executive director that helps hundreds of veterans since we founded it in 2015. It was started by one of my young Marines, this young 25-year-old kid that was, under my command in Ramadi, that saw a need, and he addressed it. And we're very lucky, despite the VA's problems, Kevin, have so many great nonprofit organizations, these boutique 501s, that are really helping fill those gaps that the VA is not addressing. And we could spend an entire hour on the radio talking about the programmatic and systematic failures of the VA. But we're very fortunate within our own community and a lot of non-military, non-veterans that are willing to support as well.
Scott, if people want to get your book, get a hold of you, what can they do, sir?
Go on Amazon today, buy a copy of Echo in Ramadi. You can type in Echo in Ramadi, Scott Husing. If you want to learn more about my nonprofit, go to savethebrave.org. And if you want to learn more about me or see some pictures of the Marines I write about in Echo in Ramadi, visit my website at echoinramadi.com. And you can find me on social media at Echo in Ramadi. Across the board. And again, hey, Kevin, thanks again for having me on the show. Thanks to everyone at Boise, and happy belated 4th of July on our great Independence Day.
Well, Scott, we appreciate you. We'd love to have you back. Thank you for sticking up for your people.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Take care, sir. Bye-bye. There you have it. Jim and Meridian, thanks for your patience. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Kevin. I have the solution to the Canyon County jail issue that won't cost the taxpayers a cent. And to help out Commissioner Dale and especially the property tax owners over there. And the solution is whenever anybody is arrested, and we have to determine where a person is from. We have to determine identity when a person is arrested in the United States, because let's say they're a tourist from Canada or Argentina somewhere, they're required to notify their embassy. So whenever an illegal alien Mexican is arrested in Canyon County, call in ICE and the FBI to investigate where they have worked, on which farm they have worked on, identify the farms, and go out and confiscate those farms. Confiscate them just like with drug dealers. Use civil forfeiture, take the trucks, the house, the land, all the equipment and assets, take it all and auction it off, just like with drug dealers, and use those funds to pay for the new Canyon County jail.
Well, I think that would end that would probably be a quicker quicker solution than E-Verify.
Yes, it's very efficient. It's perfectly legal. There's plenty of them being arrested. There's plenty of illegal alien Mexicans being arrested, and the ones who are bringing them in, the attraction to bring them in, they should be held accountable. These so-called farmers, I call them so-called farmers because they're really traitors. They're not hiring Americans. They're bringing in, they're providing the attraction to bring in illegals, which are causing the crime and causing the arrests and causing the full up prisons and jail cells. You know, a huge percentage of federal prisoners are illegal aliens. It's something like approaching 40%. It's high. And Canyon has the same problem. So just identify where they've been working, so-called farmers, and go out and confiscate those farms and sell them. Sell them at auction, and that will pay for the new jail. Plus, it will reduce the jail population, and that there'll be far fewer illegal aliens arrested when that starts happening. So we won't need as many beds. So it works on both ends of the problem.
Well, Jim, maybe you should run for office.
Well, it might take that, but I mean, the ones we have in office now should be doing these American things instead of anti-American things. Every elected official should be doing these things, but they don't have to wait on me. and you, Kevin, you're going to be our next governor, right?
No, I just want to keep my job with you, brother. That's wrong with you, Jim.
You're doing a great one right now, but and we can use you, and we appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Have a great day, sir. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. It was so good. We've got to share this with you again. President Trump in Montana. If you missed it, the most action-packed 2 minutes and 41 seconds you'll hear on the radio next with all of us here on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. And blessed to be with you. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you starting your day with us, checking in. We love hearing what you have to say at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Doug Marson, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yeah, I just had to call and respond to the gentleman who had just called in because, what he was proposing is the most anti-American thing I've about ever heard of. Confiscating property is extremely anti-American, almost no matter what the crime. And these guys don't even know, no matter how hard they try, it's very difficult, and I know this from my own, construction business, to determine if people are legal or not when they're trying to present themselves as legal. They get documentation, they have members of their family that all have the same names, and some of them are legal, and they can present you with legal documents. It's pretty difficult to get it figured out. Secondly, is it puts our farmers at a huge disadvantage, because the other states aren't going to do the same thing, and they wouldn't be able to compete outside of the state because they would be forced to pay a lot higher wages. Same thing. I've found this out in construction is I really can't get people to work. They'll ask for a job. They'll say they want a job. They'll show up. They see how hard they got to work. They never show up again. It's really difficult right now to find people that will work hard.
I don't know how to respond to that one, Doug.
Well, I have to admit, I have a very hard time with illegals coming in. Very hard time. I don't think it should be going on. There has to be a way to get people here legally quicker and easier so they can take these jobs that a lot of people don't want to do. I used to argue all the time that, hey, no, you can find people that do these jobs, but you really can't. Not in the amounts that are needed and not that will actually show up to work.
As I said, I can't really respond to that one. But, why doesn't you take a look at the government, though? What about E-Verify? What about a uniform system? It's as if they really don't want the system fixed.
No, they don't. That's pretty obvious that they want the chaos that exists because it keeps them in power. Myself personally, I believe the federal government's about 95% too big, and that everything should be brought back to the states and the local levels. That's why there's so many problems. What's good for a kid in Idaho isn't what's good for a kid in New York. We aren't meant to all be living by the same rules coast to coast. We're meant to have laws that are more specialized to where we live, and trying to do things like they are, it's never going to work out. People have too many differing opinions, and a lot of times those opinions are justified just based on where they live.
Well, I know you work for a living if you're running construction every day, brother.
Yeah, yep. And it's very frustrating to see your tax dollars get wasted. It was very frustrating here back basically in 2008 when the whole economy blew up, and it was pretty much the politicians' fault, and people that had worked hard for years, that companies just explode right off from underneath them that they couldn't do anything about, and they hadn't caused the problem. The politicians had.
Doug, you have a good day, brother.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, there's a hardworking guy. Many of us will go, well, it's triple digits. And big ups to people that are working on the roads, because we're never nice to the road people. You know that. We're never happy to see the people on the roads. That black top, the tar, that's hot stuff, even when it's like 60, 70 degrees. The people building homes, now those are men. People say, you work a lot. Well, I love the compliment, but that's work. We should honor them. Please be careful, Doug, and everybody working outside today and every day. Traffic and weather together.
Gabbard.
And I'm Kevin Miller. You're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. And we move along. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, our friend John Decker will join us. We'll get his thoughts on the president in Montana and our moves to, try to bring the president to Idaho. That's right. So we'll be doing that coming up. But before we get to John Decker, we're going to go to our friend Michelle Polino, talk a little bit about Hollywood and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Good morning.
Very excited for this film.
I don't know. I mean, how many times can Marvel hit it out of the park?
I think they can hit it out a lot this year. For some reason, people are spending money at the box office. Look at what has been happening so far. With $2 billion from the Avengers already. It's just incredible box office. Marvel characters seem to really, I don't know, there's something about these characters that the American public loves, that the world loves. It does great global box office. This particular character I like because he's a dad too, and we're going to see that in this film, in this character. And we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen a superhero be a dad as well. So this one's great. And, of course, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, again, another female superhero enters the realm, and I think that's going to help. So it's not just Marvel that they're banking on. They're banking on this one's a dad. They're banking on we have the Wasp, another female superhero. I think those factors will add up to a really good box office. But I got to tell you, I think a lot of people are going to go to The Purge as well because that franchise also does well.
Well, one thing I like about the Ant-Man movie, at least the first one, is they put the Marvel humor, the trademark Marvel humor, on overdrive.
Yes, they do. And isn't that why people love these films? Really? I think.
Well, it makes them much more realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I think what adds to Deadpool's kind of flavor, even though he takes it up 50 notches. But I think that's why people really, really love these films. It's the humor. They poke fun at themselves, and they poke fun at the franchise, which, everybody knows what this is when they walk in. But not only do these characters poke fun at it, they actually live in it and breathe in it and have fun with it, and I think that allows the audience too.
Michelle Polino joining us, Kevin Miller here on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Your favorite Marvel film of all time, they did another ranker, and I was a little surprised by who they came up with at number one, but can you give us your favorite, your all-time best Marvel movie?
Oh, my gosh, really? Iron Man.
Ooh, Iron Man was like 15.
Really? I
love.
I think Robert Downey Jr. perfected the art of the Marvel, the self-deprecating Marvel character. I think that's why I love it.
Captain America Civil War was number one.
What? Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, no, it was not. Winter Soldier was number one.
Winter Soldier, okay.
Yeah. What
did you think? Was that your favorite?
I'm a Captain America guy.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, there it is. Least favorite.
Least favorite? Well, probably the Hulk franchises. They just never seem to get the Hulk right. Just think about what a thriller you could have. What happens if everybody loses their temper. If you couldn't lose your temper.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I don't even think I'd go. I don't even think I'd go to a Hulk film. I just wouldn't. Doesn't do that for me. I am excited for, though, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I do think that Paul Rudd does an amazing job, Evangeline Lilly, and together I think they have that chemistry that I really like. I like Doctor Strange, too. Really love Doctor Strange.
I'm not surprised by that one.
Yeah.
Hey, Michelle, anything else we should be looking out for towards the end of the summer? I know we're right in the middle of it, but
I know.
Anything good on the horizon?
Well, I think Mission Impossible is really, everybody talks about Tom Cruise and the controversy surrounding his Scientology, but he really is one of the top box office draws, and he puts his heart into every film, and he really owns the Mission Impossible franchise. So I'm actually looking forward to that one. So that's to me is a big one, and I just think he does it right. You know, he gives his all, and you can see that in every action sequence in every Mission Impossible film.
Michelle Polino, we appreciate you as always. Take care of yourself. Thank you.
You got it. Have a great weekend.
You too. All right. Michelle Polino joining us from Hollywood. From Hollywood, he's clearing his voice. The sweet prince of the Treasure Valley, the beloved Tea Party Bob, publisher of the Gem State Patriot, always on the prowl for the patriotic news that matters to you. Good morning, sir.
You always seems to catch me at the wrong time, Kevin. I don't know why that is.
Story of my life. It's how I show my affection.
You know, it's too bad our governor doesn't live up to his own cowboy code. I want to thank you for bringing up the problem with the overcrowding of the jails. It's a real crisis situation, and I don't think a lot of people understand. They don't seem to care until it's one of their own that's affected. Now, the state government has wasted so much money on past scandals and dumb projects. Why is it they don't have the money to take care of the people we locked up? You know, after all, we've had budget surpluses for the last 4 years. Why haven't they put some of that money away for a new prison? You know, is it not that we don't know we're going to need the money to build a new prison? We need to change the way we deal with the prisoners and find a way to rehabilitate instead of keeping them locked up. You know, a recent analysis found that currently 35% of all Idaho adult felon offenders return to prison within 3 years of release. And although Idaho is one of the lowest crime in 2013-14, the Council of State Government informed Idaho's leaders they should expect a 16% increase in Idaho's prison population between 2014 and 2019. And what did they do about it? They did nothing to prepare for that increase. And in 2014, we were already at capacity. Now we pay another state to house the prisoners and put their lives at risk. Does anybody remember the tens of millions we lost on a Wi-Fi scandal, or the untold amount of money the Correction Corp of America for their mismanagement cost us? There wasn't even an investigation into that debacle. So we're never going to know how much CCA extracted and scammed in the phony overtime because Governor Otter accepted a $1 million settlement. Guess who was one of the regular donors to the campaign of our good governor? You know, you're right about the $135 million paid for Hewlett. The campus was not needed. And it's a payback for favors. We all know that. Instead of putting the money where it's needed. We have a bunch of irresponsible big government bureaucrats running the state government. And I I doubt that anyone is going to try and fix this problem. And that goes for our new governor when he takes over. It will just probably be more of the same. It's high time we live up to our responsibilities as citizens of Idaho and demand that they fix this horrendous problem. We need to get rid of the archaic programs and bring our prison management system into the 21st century. I challenge the new governor-elect, Brad Little, to fix this dysfunctional system, build a new prison while reforming the management.
He's not the governor-elect yet. You got Paulette Jordan. You got the general election.
As you said earlier this morning, this election is already over. You and I would probably agree on that. Nobody's running. Brad Little's out there running, but nobody else is running. There is no challenge from the Democrats. We all know that.
Well, they were good libs.
Yeah, exactly. Blukov would have been more of a challenge than Jordan.
He would have been. Yes.
Let's see what happens. Let's see if they fix anything when we get this change of governor in here, or if they're going to follow in the same footsteps of the current swamp-dwelling Governor Otter.
All right.
And thank you very much, Kevin, and thanks for bringing this subject up. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, Tea Party Bob.
Take care, my friend.
Bye-bye, our great friend Tea Party Bob. How can you add to that one?
Well, I don't know if you can, but Tea Party Bob's got a good subject there. It's pretty obvious that if you're around the prisons and the jails that at times...
Do you hang out at the prisons and the jails?
No, but I've had people in jail and prison that I get to know something about it. And
I was just asking if you were hanging out at the jail.
No, I don't hang out there, but what's happening is when a county, when a state they think they need a new prison, they will do things to keep the prisons at higher capacity, even at 100% capacity, to justify a new prison when they could put some of those people out and lower the amount of people in there.
Well, I don't want them out. I want them in the pen.
No, you don't want any. If somebody's generally, say, sentenced to 10 years and they've been in there for 5 years and they've had good behavior and they think they're rehabilitated, why should they stay in for the next 5 years?
Because it's time is time.
Well, then they need to sentence them to 5 years instead of 10 years.
Well, no, you need to talk to the judge.
Well, maybe we ought to let juries handle all this.
Maybe we ought to let someone else besides you handle all this.
Well, I don't handle it, but...
Exactly, you don't. You just hang out at the jails.
I know, but I do know that there's manipulation of the population in jails to justify new jails and prisons. I know that for a fact.
Well, you haven't been in the jail, so how do you know?
Well, I've been down to a jail, and I saw a guy come in, and he said, well, you asked me to come to the jail because I'm supposed to stay overnight. I can stay at home. And the jailer said, well, we don't have any beds open in the jail.
Well, he can be on the floor, and he doesn't need to stay at home.
No, he's out of jail. But they sentenced him.
He's on the loose.
Yeah, he's on the loose, but they sentenced him to come to the jail to check in because if they have excess beds, they put him in there. Now, why would they do that?
He needs to not be in there and not on the loose. He needs to be stuffed and cuffed.
Well, then he shouldn't be out working. He should just be in there, and we should keep building more and more prisons.
Right, along with the senior centers.
Yeah, right. No.
All right, thank you, Pro-Life.
Prison. All right. I'll see you.
Thank you. God bless. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. All right, it is the Friday free-for-all. Kevin Miller in the morning on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. We have Aaron and Rob with us from Team Mazda Subaru here to talk about gosh knows what. Good morning.
What's the free-for-all mean?
Yeah, what is that?
That's the free-for-all.
Whatever we want to talk about?
Right. I mean, we could talk about prisons and pro-life if you'd like.
We could talk about your last guest, Michelle.
Michelle Polino, yes. It could be reviewing commentary for the free-for-all.
She brought the fire. It's
She
hard,
did.
It's hard to follow that.
She loves the Ant-Man and the Wasp, apparently.
She does.
Well, who doesn't?
Well, we'll find out this weekend. Big news in the world of sports, though. You know, we've got LeBron going to the Lakers. We've got NFL training camps getting ready to open. It'll be interesting to see how the NFL handles a season of controversy last year when you're thinking about the national anthem, President Trump last night smacking the NFL again in Great Falls, Montana.
Oh, what'd he say?
He said that Goodell is doing everything wrong. He should make them stand. That's why their ratings are going down. And, President Trump is President Trump, doesn't hold anything back.
That's true.
Went after Elizabeth Warren, and the people in Montana seem to love it. So we'll see how that plays out, as we get ready for the NFL. It is a slow time. Now, I have a hard-hitting question for both of you.
Ooh.
We're ready.
Yikes.
Bring it on, Kevin.
All right.
Hard hitting.
Cornhole. You know what that is?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Love that game.
So, really, is it a sport?
No, I would think it's more of like a party game. I wouldn't call it a sport.
It's kind of a party game.
Yeah.
Really?
It's not as competitive as horseshoes.
It's not as competitive as horseshoes.
Yeah. It's in the same genre, but...
Genre?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love game, right?
Love game.
Okay, so the name Cornhole is just kind of weird.
Yeah,
what is going on?
The name holds it back from being really mainstream, I think.
Right. Well, did you know there is a professional cornhole league?
Oh.
Wow.
Where you can make, they just had the national championships. Why do I know this? Because it was televised on ESPN, where they had people going, hey, he's going to do the airdrop. And I'm going, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
And the bags and everything else. But I think the all-time winner got $20,000 at Coney Island. So you've got the hot dog eating contest that we've turned into a sport. And now we have cornhole. And it's the American Cornhole Association. And ilovecornhole.com if you have any budding people that would like to be a part of the Cornhole League.
I don't know that
I don't even know
kid.
if I can say cornhole on the radio, but I'm saying it's true.
Google that.
What's going on?
It's not happening.
It's a legitimate sport.
Well,
cornhole.
So back to the hot dogs. How many did he eat? He ended
74.
up eating. Oh my goodness.
Joey Chestnut.
Now this was just the hot dogs, not the bun.
No, the buns too. You know that the key to it is Kobayashi figured out that you dip it in the water, so it's all kind of mushy. But 74 hot dogs.
You can't produce enough
minutes.
saliva. You just got.
Well, I don't know. We don't really want to go there. Where people
70
are.
though. That's amazing.
Yeah, the record 74. The over under was 71. If you wanted to place a bet on it.
And how long did that take him to eat 74?
I think 10 minutes.
Wow.
And that's a
time
sport.
limit, right?
So whatever happened to real sports? We've got cornhole. We've got hot dogs.
Curling.
Curling?
It's an Olympic sport.
Olympic sport.
Yeah. They play all these things when NFL's on another station.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's amazing to me. And from a sponsorship opportunity, you have one screen where the guy's throwing, and the next is you have Johnson Franks or whatever.
Yeah.
The cornhole. So
Sure.
you're throwing it right into a logo.
Kind of makes you want a hot dog. Maybe let's grill some up. It's summertime.
Sure.
Come down to Team. We're grilling hot dogs.
When are you grilling hot dogs?
Well, Kevin, we thought we'd let you do the honors.
You don't want
You
me
can bring
cooking.
your whole crowd.
Yeah,
We could
yeah.
do a Saturday.
Yep.
Kevin Miller hot dog cook-off.
That
We
would
could,
be.
hey, you know what? And then we just charge $1 entry, and all the proceeds can go to the mission.
Boise Rescue Mission.
all the proceeds can go to Kevin Miller's retirement fund.
Kevin Miller's.
Well, I think that thing's already.
So you can have
full.
hot
I don't know if
dogs.
There's any
You have
more
hot
money left
dogs
in
all
there.
the way into your future.
Yes, you're going to pay me in hot dogs. Is that it?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, more coming up with our friends from Team in a minute. Traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. All right, sadly, we've only got less than a minute left with our friends Aaron and Rob, Team Mazda Subaru. By the way, I want to thank you all for supporting God and Country. Over 15,000 people at the amphitheater, over 30 or 40,000 when you consider the Walmart parking lot and everything else. So thank you guys for making it such a big part of what you all do.
Yeah, we're glad to be a part of it. We, we initially didn't have a place to be there at the big event, and you made it happen for us.
You guys were right next to us. Okay, what's going on this week at Team? This weekend?
This weekend, well, Aaron's got this great blockbuster voice.
Yeah, big trade-ins.
Trade-ins, $2,000 for every trade.
$2,000 for every trade.
$79 a month Mazdas.
Wow.
Zoom. Come on. Zoom. Doing it all. Anyway, back to you. Boise Rescue Mission, hot dogs with Kevin. When are we going to do that?
What's the date, Kevin? We're pinning you down.
To be determined.
All right.
Go Team, save money, drive happy. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.